Beautiful, beautiful. Welcome into Qi Time TV. I've got my gorgeous friend Amalia Wai-Ching Lee with me. Why am I singing? I don't know, because it's so joyful to be with you once again. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, wow. For those of you that may not have met Amalia Wai-Ching Lee before, she is a renowned intuitive healer and a pioneer in the field of natural healing. And she comes from a family with these natural abilities because her great-grandfather was a Chinese physician and her mothers and sisters are herbalists, natural mystics and healers, and also very good cooks, yes? Yes, her mother trained Amalia early in Qigong and Tai Chi when she visited the Chinese temples. How lucky were you? And I guess from an early age, you've been fascinated by other dimensions and have actually become really adept at space clearing as well as healing people. And I actually met you through the docu-series Quantum Qi, that sumptuous and deeply informative series created by our dear friend Sharon Rose. So, oh my goodness, Amalia has her own super potent style of Qigong called Infinity Quantum Qigong, which I have experienced and I absolutely adore it. So thank you so much. And this was actually gifted to you, wasn't it, through an extraordinary experience, something that we did talk about on your Qi Time a couple of years back. I think it's December 2019, which I will put a link to in the bottom of this after we've done our live thing. But this showed you, wasn't it, how Qi wanted to be expressed away from specific forms. So this natural expression of energy, which is so deeply healing for us. So another thing is that Amalia is a real fan of dance, as am I. So let's see where our conversation goes today, because we've been wanting to look at the why Qigong is so popular now, why it's so effective. And anyway, we will have a great conversation, I know. Welcome indeed in again, Amalia. Hello.
Thank you, Clara. Always a delight to dance with you.
Yeah, really. And your
cosmic dance.
constant dance of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. And you're over in Singapore now, yeah?
I'm in between. I'm in Singapore and Malaysia.
Okay.
I can see Singapore from my window.
You're on the borderline. You're on the space in between. Ooh, one of my favorite topics.
Between. And there's a beautiful, calm piece of water right here. It's called the Straits of Johor. And that's separating the two landmass. But it's actually one, because we were one country before.
Oh, I see.
Born in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And then I grew up in Singapore, and now I'm just back up here in Malaysia.
Okay. Oh, have we got a little bit of external activity going on?
Yes, it's quite unusual. You know, if I may give the situation, because we're going to talk about Qigong in present times, aren't we? This is highly unusual. I've never heard this, and it's so quiet here and so still usually. And from my window, I can see also coconut trees and monkeys. So this is very unusual, because at the end of this cul-de-sac, it's some people would come around and enjoy the view. It's a beautiful view, and it's sunset right now. So there are few people coming. And today, to celebrate the Eid Mubarak, that's the end of Ramadan. And it's the first day of the Hari Raya Idul Fitri. And unfortunately, we are in what is called lockdown.
Oh, okay.
So that was a police car coming to break up a group of people. I can see that the cars lined up. Wow. So we're talking about Qigong for these times.
Yes,
This is why it's needed, because there are certain elements that are discordant to the cosmic order of harmony at this time. We know that through this disease of viral infection, which actually is within us, isn't it? We are the virus. And we have disrespected Mother Earth, with all the air pollution, soil pollution, and water pollution. And it's created an upset in the ecosystem of the earth and our bodies from the poisonous foods, the contaminants that we're eating. Now, why we're talking about this in terms of Qigong? Because it's all Qi.
Thank you. Exactly. Everything is Qi. Everything is energy, and energy is everything.
Yes. So we have to bring this in, the realization. Yes. Why do we have this imbalance? Why is there a viral overload? It happens in our bodies, in the microbiome, in our gut, in our intestinal tract, in all our cells, when we are infected, when we have poison our bodies through these wrong foods or chemicals, preservatives, and most of all now, which I want to tell a lot of people, just be careful, is the radiation, the electromagnetic field radiation. People are not aware on how that's affecting our system, our blood, which is key to Qigong, isn't it?
It is. Now, what we actually are also bringing in here is like invisible forces. So things we cannot see. Qi is something we cannot see, but we can sense the effect of. And it's like the air pollution. We can't see it, but we can taste it in our breath. With the EMFs and radiation, we can't see it, but our systems definitely have a response to it. So it's about heightening your perceptivity, if there is such a word, of picking up the information that is true. So, oh God, there's so much we can go there, but it's like getting in touch with that, what is inside of you, that is your barometer of truth, that you can bring this information to and go, does this actually sit right with me or not? Before the busy monkey mind goes, oh yeah, but no, but yeah, but it's like, where is your truth inside? And that's something that Qigong has really helped me get in touch with.
Yes. And we are speaking about the relevance of Qigong at this time.
Yeah.
And this is even more relevant than ever, that we have to tune in to our deepest truth, our most profound feelings that's coming from our wisdom, and that's coming from this intuition that is telling us what's not right with the world and how the negative energies are imposing on our personal Qi, and how our personal Qi, in terms of ecology with each other and with other people, how are we to manage our Qi, right? And then we have to manage with social distancing. Actually, I call it anti-social distancing.
I was going to say it's physical distancing. It's not actually social distancing. Wrong. And that should flag up a warning for people. If they're using those kind of misleading words with something like that, what other misleading words are being used? Because language can be misinterpreted, or can also be used as a tool of manipulation and propaganda. Let's just say that. But the language of Qi, the language of energy, is your truth. It cannot be anything other than a reflection of your truth, or the truth that is there, because it's a sense and it's a feeling, and you can't manipulate it. Yeah, some people say that Qi can be used for good or for evil, like anything can, but essentially the energy of, or the language of Qi, is truth. You can't mess with that.
Yeah. Also, as a Qigong practitioner and teacher, I like to remain in the center line and absorb the polarities, to stay in the center, so I can view it this way, and balancing the yin yang, all polarities, all division, which is, of course, divisiveness is the key note of this times, right? Whether you want to do the V or not, and what's right, what's wrong, what's propaganda and what's not, deceit and corruption being revealed right now by the light. And we are going through difficult times here, and which have been, by the way, these times have been prophesied, right? So have we been prepared for it? How prepared are we?
How prepared are we?
No. And if we're not, it's in the moment, it's in the breath. We have to be prepared in the breath, every moment. And that is Qi. That's tapping into this wisdom, into this message, and going like, okay, this moment now, this is discordant. This tech is not working. What's my plan? What's my Qi response to it? What's the best Qi response, the best of integrity from Shen? We use some Qi words, Shen, spirit, and then into the mind intent, the E, and then into the heart, the desire, and then into the lower Tantian, which means how do we act on this? I mean, what kind of adjustments for us to make right now to be resilient, to be adaptable?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We have to stay home. And this lockdown, I don't call lockdown, I call it cocooning, because we are ready to come through as a, in the pupae stage and the chrysalis stage, where the caterpillar or chrysalis has to die.
I'm really glad you mentioned this, Amalia. It's here with me on Qi Time TV on behalf of One Qi Radio when we pop that live into UK Health Radio. This idea of how lockdown has been appropriated by us, how we have come into our homes, how we have to be in this space around ourselves or one another, and it's really brought us into as you said, this pupa stage. What am I actually here to birth when I'm not having to go and do? And I mean, there's a lot of distractions. We can maybe bring on distractions in a bit, but it's like when I can actually come in and I don't have to do or be as much. Where is my energy then? All my energy can come in and take care of me. I can go with my flow more. I don't have to work 9 till 5. I can do my work within certain hours of the day. So do you feel that people are actually getting more in touch with their true energy from having to be at home so much?
Yes, these are some of the positive aspects where we can rebirth ourselves and come out as butterflies. And this has been one of my best years back into myself, because I've been teaching Qigong here, there, everywhere. It involves travel and time zones and so on. So now I'm doing this teaching online, and I'm here in my own living room. I just go from one space. I have time to meditate right there, and then come and teach. And as you know, with the quantum field, there's quantum entanglement now, which explains exactly why in resonance theory we can do healing work over space and time.
It's really showing us this, and I do know also, as you know, sharing the Qigong that I do, that there's a frustration of not being in the same room as people. I do remember when you came to visit us here in Glastonbury, and we just had such a gorgeous time with those we did the sessions, and it's not to undermine that in any way. It's absolutely beautiful when you can be in person with people in the Qi field, but I think that also gives a great foundation to be able to share it to a wider audience in a broader Qi field. So there's something about there's the breath that is central to all Qigong, the expansion out to the cosmos, and that condensing into that quintessential element of you, the true you, and this sort of ability to be able to share with many people, but then also tune in and hone in with one person. And I know you do extraordinary one-to-one healings, and these mainly done online now.
Yes, and coming back to Qigong and the yin yang symbol, the cosmology of all there is in the world, there's the dark and the light, and within each there's also that little dot of the dark and the light. And so when in any situation that we find ourselves, we look for the true intent of healing, right? And the true intent of evolution. So okay, if we are encapsulated in your own home, what can we do? We clear the Qi, we declutter, we clear ourselves, we detox, we take lighter foods, and we don't need so many calories perhaps. And then we think of protective foods, right? From the radiation. Then we have we have time to research and say, how else can I make my home my sanctuary and my safety zone, and that I can come and enjoy the beauty of my home, and to create more beauty in the home. And how do I create myself through the foods that I eat? And I've had the opportunity to actually cook. I've been making something called bubo cha-cha, and I've been making jams, which I never had time to do all these years. I love to cook, right? and also learn more about food as medicine to boost our qi, and yes, and grow some food as well, right?
Totally,
And
totally.
yes, herbs in by the window, it's totally possible to do that. And it's a good time to declutter our
Totally.
minds, our physical. They give them away to people who need them. There are a lot of people in need right now, so we can
Yeah.
open our hearts and increase the intention of this love, this resonance out to the planet, and covering the planet with this love. And this is bringing us together, isn't it? This planetary crisis. And in
I hope so.
qigong,
I
in
hope so.
Chinese, yeah, Chinese, the word for crisis is danger and opportunity.
Yes.
Yes. And I started 2, 3 new businesses during this cocooning.
Yeah.
Because I asked myself, if I can't hug and kiss all my beautiful friends and clients around the world, and also touch them, because one thing they miss about working with me is the touch aspect in the massages, or also putting some crystals. Yeah, I do some placement of crystals. And of course, I hold the energy, let's say, with cranial sacral work, or, with soothing the physical body, and working with the points, like this K27, working with the points, the thymus, the C17, and all the bladder points. I work with that when I do my qigong healing. So people miss the touch, but if and I miss the hugs I have with you too. And so if not, then we can send more love out and receive more love for ourselves. How wonderful it is that we have more time for ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. And I was thinking as you're saying that, this word simplicity, bringing in simplicity, where can we be less doing, and where can we be, like, have a simpler approach that does bring us back to our nutrition, does bring us back to our sleep and our connection with others, our hearts open, and for ourselves, and maybe self massage, what can you do for yourself? So
Yes.
Amalia Wai-Ching Lee is with me here on Qi Time TV and One Qi Radio. You can contact her, or you can find out more about her on amaliawaichinglee.earth. I'll spell that for you: AMALIAWaichinglee.EARTH. Thank you so much for being with me here. It's absolutely fascinating speaking with you. And there's something that we were chatting about, this simplicity thing, but also this self-expression of how your qi wants to dance through you. Now, this is another thing that we've got in common, this just natural exusion, needing to dance. I mean, I went to dance medicine last night in Glastonbury, at the very place that you were doing your sessions when you were over here. And I remember that. I go back into the place, and I remember that energy being in there and how it builds and grows, and people that are able to just kind of express and be. And it's not about posturing or voguing or looking cool in that, or it's very much about how the body wants to express, and sometimes it wants stillness. Now, I know dance is a great lover of yours, so off you go, Amalia. Let's have a chat about qigong and dance.
I morphed this inner qi coming out, this spontaneous qi that arises, right, from stillness, and from the sanctuary, as well as from the cave. So we talked a little bit about going inward. I feel like it's a cave, and coming out each day and watching the movement from within into a sense of expression. And I call this transcendance. So where we have already transcended into the ethers, into the quantum field, into the Wuji. And how are we coming back into our bodies as divine receptacles of these energies? And how are we going to express it? So I've been like moving just spontaneously, and that the flow of the figure 8 is my thing, and supporting others. And we have had the opportunity to take 2 groups of people here in Malaysia to aesthetic dance, right? And I've taken them through the beginnings of TranscenDance into ecstatic dance. And it's been wonderful. One was by the full moonlight, and it was actually both full moon, very special. So I continue the work here, even in person as well, because we have this opportunity to do this. And this dance is about our dance with a rhythm, our own rhythm. So if you want to sleep till 2 in the afternoon, go ahead and sleep. You know, we can do it. We have this luxury of these simple pleasures. And these are the real luxuries of being human, where we can sleep for as long as we like.
Space.
And we have, we have space to breathe even.
Yes.
Now, there may not be a lot of people who live in the families. I am also acutely aware of people who don't have the space and the beauty around them, and they still need to create that within themselves. So, which is transcendence, isn't it?
Right. So this
find it
within yourself, that home within yourself, that place of peace that is inside of you, that's waiting for you to return to it and to find your way back to it. I find that dance or spontaneous movement that is so healthful, that's a place that helps me to come back into that. It helps the body to sort of express all its funk, and to find what movements it needs. And then there's the stillness at the center of that. And that's what I feel the movement helps to clear the detritus away from, this peaceful home place at the core, which of course is our soul. It's our connection to the divine, and it's our appreciation of Mother Earth. And there's a real, the internal landscape is a very fascinating place to explore.
Yeah, it is. I would like to address this movement of Qi for people who have a lot of difficult Qi arising, you know, at this time. And I know that many people are being abused at home. You know, the situations in their homes have been exacerbated.
Yeah.
And so what kind of Qi of courage is being brought up, and creating protective Qi, Wei Qi, that know that we're not going to be accepting this kind of bullying from anyone, right? In the home especially. So we are cleaning up our homes, our bodies, our minds, and the environment, our houses, and society in general. You know, there's a lot of shadows that have been risen from this, right? And so it should be. I think this is the time. And for this, in every negative intent, there's a good intent. So this is where any viral infections is our friend. We know that when we have a cough and cold, we know something's not, it's somewhere it's off balance, whether it's our own lifestyle, whether it's the food we're eating, whether it's the relationships we have. It's time for a clear up. It's time to purify the Qi. So if this is happening in the home, what decisions do we have to make to shift that energy?
I think that you're saying it's this becoming strong on the inside, and also being compassionate, because that's one of the biggest things that's happening at the moment, is this opinionated, I know what's going on, therefore I'm making this decision. None of us know everything, and we can make decisions for ourselves, and we are compassionate for others that are making decisions for themselves that may not be in alignment with our decision, but how dare we assume that we can make decisions for them? Now, don't get me wrong, I think it's important to share information if people are open, but also to do your own research, as you said. But this thing, whenever we're pulled away to basically my dad's better than your dad stuff, it's playground. This isn't the courage of the enlightened human or the awakened human that is bringing their spiritual purpose to earth and here on behalf of humanity, but also to dance with others in the similar arena. So this place inside of us that is this one point, this still point that can view the polarities, it's aware of them. You know, we can't get away from that. We have day and night, we have the in-breath, we have the out-breath. That's not the point, one or the other. The point is this place in the middle, this still point, this sweet spot, I often refer to it as. That if we can, I think that's what Qigong is really helping people to have an experience of, that it's not outside of them, it's inside of them, this truth, this seed of truth can really support them.
Absolutely. And this is what the center line of Qigong can really help people, right, to understand what it means and not be triggered by all these opposing forces, even within my own family, right? There are all these differentiated opinions, right? And I just refuse to get into it. I just say that we are all entitled to our own opinions and preferences and choices regarding our bodies, whether we choose to engage or not. And this should always apply to society as well, and the authorities, as we're also inferring. So, and also to speak the truth, if some of the aspects are hurting people, and where truth, it cannot be denied or suppressed, there is room, right, for everyone to express their opinions, their preferences, and their research. There's room for that.
You would think.
I think, yeah, you would think. And then you would just present it, and everybody will look and say, okay, I decide on this, I decide on that, without any kind of punishment, and restriction with that. Of course, there's some that if you hurt other people, but there's also this debate about who's hurting what and who's actually helping what. You can see that I'm very deliberately being in the middle.
But this is so important, because this is how unity consciousness births itself, through us understanding that there's always going to be two sides to a story, and that at least two sides more. And you want to be able to have a forum to discuss this, not having some aspects being closed down because other people's opinions don't appeal to it. All this sort of censorship on Facebook at the moment, and around the world, all the censorship all over YouTube actually as well. It's like, why is there such a fear about freedom of speech when it should be a fundamental human right?
Let's look at the positive intent. The more they suppress it, the more people are curious.
You would think, and we know that with energy, if you press energy down, it's going to come up. You can't stop it.
Yeah, exactly. It's exploding. And you know what? Those of us I don't consider myself in the sidelines. I'm right in the middle of it. I'm right in the middle of the storm. And it's chaos all around. I mean, it's like if you run into a room and there's blood everywhere and the people screaming and the police. I mean, you don't know what's happening. It looks like chaos, but there could be a woman birthing. A new life is coming through. And so, we want to step back. I feel, I'm speaking to you as a sister and others who are galactic brothers, sisters, and we can step back and look. And come from a place of Shen, with compassion, of course, and with love. And love is so important now, 432 hertz into the planet. And love everybody, and including those we want to call names and those we think, are doing the oppression, because they are just doing their soul matrix. This realm is a realm of duality. It's a realm of polarity. Come on, we live here. We know in our own bodies we ache sometimes, and we may have food poisoning sometimes, right, or so on. And that's the material life and the etheric life, and all the particles and waves all happening at the same time. So if we can transcend that with a TranscenDance, yay, that's why I like that name, is then we can stay healthy within our own bodies and our blood. The blood is so key, and we know that the virus attacks the blood. It's the blood condition, and which is now made worse with the electromagnetic radiation and toxicity.
Well, the further we get away from Mother Nature, the more diseased we become. But we have to remember that our systems are wired for balance. Every cell is working on balance all the time right now. Our breath brings us into balance. So our Qigong practice also checks in with this balance between heaven and earth, between the in and the out, the up and the down. It's all about, where is that balance point? And it's cut. You might get to it for a moment, but as soon as you've noticed it, you've gone off because you've noticed it. So it's a thing that's ever evolving, which keeps me fascinated after the 25 years I've been doing this for now. I'm so grateful for the practice. I honestly don't know where I would be right now if I didn't have this practice, really.
So many people say that, and all it takes is mindfulness over the breath. And actually what has come through many years ago and now even more is the infinity breath. And I teach people to do that in a very simple way. The basic one is 8 counts in and 8 counts out. They say that if you have 8, you can breathe and hold your breath for 8 counts to 10 counts, you actually don't have a viral condition and a pulmonary issue. Okay, so that's one test. Now, deeper is that you go 8 counts in, hold for 8, where you do your intentional move through the orbit down into the navel, hold it in the chalice in the second, the sacral area, the creative principle of the sexual organs, and then pump it up the spine for 8 counts, and then cruise and breathe out and cruise for 8 counts. You can hold it, and at the same time, we are holding our intention to move this qi, to move this breath through the cells, and then expand it out into Wei-Chi, protective qi. So very, very simple, and do it 8 times, and by that time, one could feel a little lightheaded, and you've got oxygen coursing through the body. We need that for the nitric oxide to be activated in the blood. And as you know, in Qigong, the health of Qi is the blood circulation. And we know also some of the supposed remedies is actually causing blood clotting and deoxygenation of the cells. So we have to be careful about that. Even those who have opted to take on this imposed medicines, pharmaceuticals, they still can reverse it and reverse through this oxygenation breath, right? The infinity breath. Also, a lot of thermal treatments, hot showers, hot baths, Epsom salts, yes, far infrared
saunas,
and I'm helping a lot of people who have regretted because of the adverse effects. So we can clear, and of course using the anti-inflammatory foods, right? Like the spices like ginger and turmeric, and using fermented foods like kimchi as well, but you know, organically grown and all that possibly. And then also the vinegar, right? They found that vinegar and is also very powerful in rinses, mouth rinsing. Very important.
Is that apple cider vinegar or any kind of vinegar? Apple cider.
Any kind, or hydrogen peroxide as well.
Oh, that's a bit tough.
Many times. No, not neat though. Not neat. And also in iodine.
Yes, that's good. We need that for the thyroid and. Oh my goodness!
Just mouth washes, and then some people are using salt water neti, but they found in science that salt is not so destructive to the viruses. So there are things that we can use.
Right, there's essential oils as well.
Absolutely, essential oils, because it changes the molecules in the air. They're antibacterial, antiviral, and you know, as it moves through the nasal pharyngeal passages, it clears it out, you know. And I've got mine on right now, peppermint, eucalyptus, and so on. So we have to use multi-layers of qi. So each one has qi frequencies, and we have to do that in different ways, including going out and standing barefoot on the grass, right, on the earth, and luckily I have some.
Again, it's coming back into nature. What is your natural response? Not what your normal response is. That's something that was often learned, but what's natural to you? And how do you feel when you're in nature? I mean, maybe more people have been walking, those that have got access to the outside. I mean, and it's following this deep wisdom that's inside of you, your inner tuition, your inner guide, and trusting the earth will support you, trusting the air will give you the oxygen that you need, that your food, when you grow it with integrity, you'll get it from your organic farmers or whatever, or even if you can't get that you bless it, that you do your best with what you've got. And just be grateful for the miracle that is our existence right now, and that we're all here to birth the new age, and we've all got our part to play. And
and even those who have passed on, is to thank them for being the sacrifices to make sacred their passing, their transitions, to show us what this can happen. And it's not just now, it's happened through time. We have
Always.
to look at the full spectrum of time, right?
Mm.
And life is you see how we have to appreciate life. It's so delicate, it can go anytime. It just takes one breath, right? With our breath. And then especially at this time, I think it's so telling that this time that it affects the lungs, when a lot of communication has been suppressed over time, different issues, child sex abuse, women's issues, uh, wars, all the deceit and all the lies that have been out there, and we all know them now. It's clear as
Getting
day
to.
in any documentaries. So all that suppression, I mean, just take ourselves, right? If we've been suppressing our chi in expressing to a friend some grudge or resentment, it affects us. And now it's an opportunity to release it, just with compassion and with forgiveness. So we can
Yes.
say, hey, listen,
Yes.
before I die from this disease, let me confess to you
Or
how much
just get
how
it's
much
that
I've
it's
disliked you
that
all these years, really.
this this phrase of like getting something off your chest. It is
Yes,
that. What do you need to
exactly.
say? And then
Isn't
we've got the
that?
whole British thing about just keep it all in. It's like,
Oh, stiff
goodness
upper lip.
sakes,
How about the stiff upper lip?
stop
You
that
can't
now.
breathe.
It causes all sorts of trouble. Look, Amalia, total joy chatting to you on a Chi Time here and One Chi. How can people get in touch with you? Where can they find out more?
Oh, everyone's invited to a 15-minute consultation, and you can find me on amaliawaichinglee.earth, and the invitation is there, and all the contacts are there, the WhatsApp and email, which is also easy, amaliawaichinglee@mac.com.
Okay.
So I'm busy.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you are. You've been on. Yeah, you're being called in because you're a global qigong player. I thank you so much for sharing your time with us here.
And you are too. We all have to be. We all have to be global light workers. We have to be global communicators, and I give thanks for the technology. And
Yes,
technology is
exactly.
wonderful. We just need to rebalance it.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yes.
if there's one thing that you would like to share with listeners and viewers before we go, what would that be?
I think we have to look at forces which we cannot control as well, and how we can balance that. I speak of the radiation, and if we can get some devices too, and I'm happy to advise on just protecting that, because it's so huge. It really is in this chi. I've not met one qigong teacher who can override your cell phone or the computer. Honestly, it's very dense, and people need to know that, because it influences our immune system and our blood. Whether we create this terrain, right, that is more susceptible to the predominance of this viral infection. So it's really key. It's woven into the whole chi matrix. And then keep praying and keep sending out the love to the light lattices on the planet Earth, to everybody, because I feel we as a humanity will come through that. We have help. And so
When we
we're just
ask.
going through, we ask, please do ask, right? And we're just going through the birth canal right now. And look at all the wonderful in traditional medicines. I've been on a congress of 100 doctors over 50 countries, and we're all sharing remedies from the traditional medicines of the world. And so we are going to collate this in database, and I'm happy to share it with anyone, that we have Chinese herbs, we have Ayurvedic herbs, we have from the Unani tradition, and this is something that's going to come through. As that, including
true medicine.
Yes, and as well as frequency medicine, the cutting edge medicine that you and I know about. And that is coming together in integrative medicine. So let's look at all the positive aspects of this, and with hope, and then with inspiration, that's the breath, right? And let's move through this change. And so many people have actually gone online also and look at their financial situation and creating businesses. And so let's just not sit on our butts, let's wiggle our butts. And that's wiggling, doing the Qigong, right? The figure eight. And guys, everybody do the figure eight, because you're You're coming to your
That's
center.
the
You're
one.
moving the chi. That's the
Love it, love it,
one.
love it.
As well as in the chest.
Ooh.
So and so we can dance a little bit. Nice dancing with you.
Yeah, beautiful dancing with you too, my sister. Thank you so much. Your health is your true wealth. We wish that for you all.
Everybody here, we give a nice transmission to everyone now.
Yeah.
Just receive the love.
Thank you, thank you, thank you all for watching, for listening here. Thank you to Amalia Wai-Ching Lee.
Thank you. I do have a last word. By the way, humming and oming creates nitric oxide in the body.
That's what it does. That's why it's so good. I have a whole show dedicated to sound and qigong coming up in a couple of weeks, so I'm with you on that. We'll get you back in again to chat with us more.
Anytime. I love it.
Gorgeous. Thank you so much, my dear.
I love
Lots of love. Love you too.